Ladies and gentlemen, I had a lot of conversations with people at the V about orchestras, and people are always curious to know what is an orchestra and what happens with it. What are the interior things that people don't know? And I'm going to tell you tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, let me get this in place here. Behold the symphonic orchestra behind me. The greatest instrument ever invented by mankind. And why? Because it incorporates all the instruments into one musical unit. And it can utilize all the different colors and qualities of each individual instrument. And in the hands of great composers and arrangers, it can express the deepest human feelings in the way words never can. That is the symphonic orchestra, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about it. Now, it consists of 4 separate parts. The first part is what we call the string section, where the sound is created by running a horsehair bow across the string or plucking the strings by hand. Will the ladies and gentlemen of the string section please stand up for a moment? You can see that's almost half the orchestra. The New York Philharmonic has about twice as many people, but you know, we're a poor cousin, and we do what we have, and they're doing a marvelous job. Thank you. You may applaud. The second section is the Woodwind Section. With the ladies and gentlemen of the Woodwind Section, please stand up. They create the sound by blowing into a tube and an opening or closing little holes. That's the way it goes. Now the brass section. All the instruments are made of brass. Please, would you stand up? All the instruments are made of brass with valves and slides and special mouthpieces to blow into. Thank you very much. And now it's a little hard to see the percussion section. We have 4 as a matter of fact, but I'll introduce. Let everybody stand up in the percussion section. Okay. And my good friend Billy McCumber here at the piano also belongs in the percussion section. Because as you know, he hits the hammers, he hits the keys, the keys hit hammers, and the hammers hit the strings. And the percussion people, the sound is created by hitting drum skins and wooden or metal bars. The piano, where hammers hit the strings, also belongs to this group. Okay, so now you've seen the 4 major groups of the orchestra. Now let me introduce you to the individual sections within these groups. First of all, the first violins. Would you please stand up? Now, they play the highest notes and mostly play the melody. And they sound something like this. 1, 2. Thank you very much. Right. You can applaud, but they deserve every applause they get. Now we have our second violins. Now will you please stand up? Now, they're not just second fiddles. They're just as important as the first violins, but mostly their role is to play a harmony or a supportive part to the melody. So let's for sake of argument, let me have them play that part that they play, because it's not the melody. It enhances the first, but we'll... Okay, so the seconds, let's hear the seconds. 1, 2. Okay, now let's put, very good. Now let's put the first and seconds together and see how much that little bit will enrich what the first sound like. 1, 2. You see how rich it already sounds? Now they have played a little different part. Now we have, good, thank you, you may applaud. Now we have another section, and those are the violas. Would you please stand up? Now, you notice something, those are bigger than violins. The violas are sort of violins on steroids. And they have a, yeah, thank you very much. They have a darker tone and often play rhythm parts and counterpoints to the melody. They can play beautiful melodies, but their role is often to do that, to play. So they're going to play a little rhythm for you, and let's see what that sounds like. Okay? Hear what they're doing? They're playing a little rhythm, you know. And now we get an even bigger violin, and those are called the cellos. Would you please stand up and everybody? And you notice the cello is a bigger violin. It's so big that they can't hold it in their hand like that, so they have to sit down and play. And now the cello is particularly good, effective as a low melody and counterpoint. And it's also very good plucked. I don't think we have a plucked part here, but let's see what their melody sounds like. 1, 2. See how much it did as a lower register. Very beautiful. And of course we have the fundament, the bass is the biggest fiddle of all, and it's always has to be played standing up, and it plays the lowest part, either plucked and bowed, and is the fundament of the string section. Let's hear it. 1, 2. They hold the rhythm. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now let's see what this whole violin, this whole string section, all together sounds like. Lovely, lovely. Okay. Now let's get to the woodwind section. The flute and the piccolo. Let's see our two flutists, Judith and Kathy. The flute is the highest and the most agile of the woodwinds, and it's mostly made of metal these days. It's very effective as an added frill and decoration to the melody. It's an extra little thing that they do that makes it shine and be brittle. Now the piccolo, it's the smallest flute, and it plays an octave higher than the flute. Now let's hear what they can do. They don't play the melody, they play some and Billy is going to help us with the melody a little bit. 1, 2. Yeah, unless they do the trilling, thank you very much. The next woodwind is the oboe. Now the oboe is a peculiar instrument. It's a double reed instrument with a very distinctive reedy sound. It is very effective as a solo instrument, and Gary is going to play. Gary is our only oboe player, so let's hear what it sounds. 1, 2. Very nice, thank you. You hear that particular quality. Now the oboe has an older, bigger brother, and it's called the English horn. And it's a brother to the oboe and has a similar plaintive and melancholy quality. Let's hear Elaine play the English horn. There you go. It's a nice quality, isn't it? It's sort of it's very good for solos. Now they also have another family member that's a double reed instruments, and that is called the bassoon. There's Ed that looks a bit like a stovepipe. And it's the lowest of the double reed family, and it has a low, reedy sound, which is often used for comical effects and in orchestration. Let's see what that sounds like. 1, 2. You can imagine that for a little old fellow walking down the street, a little tipsy, but okay. Well, let's hear those three double reeds together. See what they sound like. 1, 2. Then we have, the clarinet. The clarinet is the soul of the woodwind section. It has a large range, a warm sound, and blends well with almost any instrument in the orchestra. Let's see, Carl and Debbie, where are you? You're over there, right, the two of them. Okay, let's see what it sounds like. They're the warmest instrument, and they blend well with the rest of the orchestra. Okay? And then we have, of course, Mel is going to show you what the saxophone looks like. You all know what the saxophone actually is not an official member of a symphony orchestra, but in a pops orchestra, we sometimes use it. So that was just to show you that he plays it occasionally. You know what a saxophone sounds like. Now, we go to the brass section. The French horn. The French horn, here are two French hornets. See those instruments with all that brass and all those. And is the warmest of the brass instrument. It blends well with the strings and woodwinds, but is also capable of power in solo passages. So let's hear what our French horns sound like. 1, 2. Yeah. You notice that I gave them some good. You can give them an applause, please. Yeah. You notice that the part they play is sometimes a supporting part, but when needed, they can be very, very, very powerful and very in solo passages. And here come the nobles of the brass section, the trumpet section. Dennis in town, please, right? The trumpet is the highest and most powerful of the brass section. It has great agility and leads the orchestra in majestic ensemble passages. Let's hear something. 1, 2. You know how they rise about the orchestra. Now to the trombones. The first and second trombones are the leaders of that trombone section, and the trombones are the lower brass and can give great strength to the bottom of the orchestra sound. Let's see, guys, stand it up first. Let me just show you. Okay, and here we go. 1, 2. Thank you very much. And we also, now the bottom of the orchestra are the bass trombone and the tuba. Doug and David Winograd, they are the absolute bottom of the orchestral sound and give the sound symphony orchestra its powerful fundament. Let's see what it looks like. Now you're going to hear some real low sounds. 1, 2. Very good. Thank you, guys. Okay. Now we come to our fourth section and final section, and that is the percussion section. The ones that strike bells or whistles or drums. And the orchestra bells is over there. Jonathan, by the orchestra bells, say hello. The orchestra bells are very effective to enhance a melody and add sparkle and shimmer. There are also xylophones and large sections of cymbals, drums, and whistles to enhance the sound. We're not going to go into that, but he's going to play on the bells. 1, 2. And now on the drum set, we have Paul. The basic drum set in a Fuchs orchestra plays an important role because it's the center of the rhythm section which supports and steadies the beat. We just give you a little bit of a sample of what different sounds you get. So Paul, here we go. 1, 2. And finally, on the timpani, Stephanie on the timpani over there. Now, the timpani drums are the heartbeat of the orchestra. They accentuate the important parts and bring the music to a triumphant, climactic ending. You know, when I really like to get some, at the end, a big chord, big sound, the timpani is the most important part of that. So let's see, she's going to do just a couple of things. 1, 2. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I hope you learned a little bit about the orchestra. Now we're going to put them together, and I want want you to all help in singing. First we're going to have the strings and the woodwinds play, and on the second chorus we add the brass to give it that extra little strength. And this is for everybody who has a birthday today, and in particular for my wife Veronica, who has a birthday today. Thank you. So, 1, 2. Now with the brass.